the pictures I uploaded went into my messenger. So okay, so let me
Thank you,
hopefully
sir.
that works. No problem. So let's see here. Let's go to Bilaran Road. Bilaran Road.
Excuse me, sir. Can I also ask about the setbacks in the drop-off area?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, for my scheme circuit, both the retail and the bank will have entrances good as well as the atrium, so three separate entrances and then on different sides.
Hmm.
So I was gonna ask kung asa ang setback to kanang ang preferred nga setback kay I was thinking kanang to the katong business IP part instead of the katong terraces nga part
Mm-hmm.
kay it's more dense nga sa vehicular traffic so I can use it as a parking area. So dito akong 8 meter setback for the frontage. Pero you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned earlier nga dapat sa other way around dito sa terraces.
Ah, no, okay, let's clarify that. When I mentioned like setback, I mean like the setback is determined by road right of way. Since Mindanao Avenue and Bilaran Road, I don't know how to pronounce it. I just call it Biliran, are more or less like 30-meter road right of way. So I think that we should have 8-meter setback at both ends. Because like we're so used to the idea of a building having only one frontage. That's why I think this site is very interesting because you have to deal with the idea of having a building with two frontages. So notice an FGU, it's not a blank wall. It's like designed. It's like interesting, I guess. And also you got that similar look on the Bilaran side. So if you're going to put parking on the ground floor, um, let me see here. It doesn't really matter. Both ends should be set back 8 meters. I did a quick check. It should fit. Let me know if it doesn't fit. And then I think parking on the ground floor is really not advisable, especially because this is a commercial building. You're just using up too much sellable space. So this is sort of in line with what you did with your what was it called, the subdivision project, like 70-30 split. You can apply something similar to that in this commercial building. Like if you check your PSO, you check your building footprint, see if you can get like 60 to 70% sellable area. Whereas if you go down to like 40, that's not efficient anymore. So I would advise against having parking on your ground floor because you're already using up so much space for the vehicle ramp, the setback, the sidewalks, and then yeah, I think that's mostly it. And then why was that clear, Mary Jean?
Ah, yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So why I think really, for me anyway, Bilaran Road is such a good place to put your vehicle traffic in is that there's not much people here, even like before the pandemic. Not much vehicle traffic. I mean, you can just have one car here stop for like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or maybe even like 2 minutes, and then go right away because there's not much vehicle traffic going on here. On the other hand, if you put your vehicle entrance on this side, we can see already the Jeeps are lining up. Our site is where this parking lot is. So just imagine if you have your car coming in here, then a Jeep wants to get over, or like a Jeep is blocking that entrance. Because sometimes these Jeeps go all the way or use up the entire frontage of your Mindanao Avenue. So let's just say the Mindanao front and the Bilaran front, because they're both technically fronts. And then we should treat it as is. So there, typically in like this kind of site, I think it's called a through site. I need to double check on that. You really need to treat both RROWs as your front. So in this case, there are no rears. There is no rear side in your building, so you have to treat them as frontages because it can be seen, and there's access, there's potential traffic like pedestrian and vehicle traffic you need to consider. So you treat them both as frontages. And then over here, let me just show where did my picture go. So this is the building that's going up there currently. It's not seen in Google Maps. Notice how the building is really all the way up to the kanang setback. So let's see here. I think I think they have some kind of variance na it's really almost all the way to the sidewalk. Meanwhile, for us, we're using like building code standards. I think they have to pay extra to the government to build all the way up to the sidewalk because this is definitely not an 8-meter setback. They're using up the entire lot. So there are some ways that developers and builders can sort of bend the rules by like paying taxes or paying some kind of monetary value. Okay, so what else do I have here? So that's why I think Biliran or Bilaran Road is the best access for vehicle traffic. And then you can have pedestrian access on both ends. So let's see here.
Excuse me, sir. I
Yes,
just have a question.
go ahead.
Regarding sa 8 meter nga setback sa frontage, sir, kanang ang naa sa National Building Code is from 10 meter to 19 meter nga road right of way. We have the front as 5 meter setback.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's the thing because this is um, how let's say that how we measure road right of way is actually from here to here. Well, it's the whole road, not just one part of the road. So that's why it's the directions measure. Where's my measure tool? Right click measure. Dang it, I can't get my. Let me refresh. Let me close that. Right click measure distance. It's from here to here. So that's about 30 meters. So it's not a 15-meter road right of way, it's actually 30. So that's why it's 8-meter setback. And then I already like drew what the 8-meter setback looks like. Let's see, this is my ground floor. Yeah, that's my ground floor. Let's see how much my floor area ratio is. So this is my total site. Let me just check. E, E. The total area of the site, more or less, is 1,760. And then my building footprint is, let's see, 816. Let's see how much my floor area, sellable area versus non-sellable area is. Calculator, we have 816 divided by 1760 times 100. Oof, that's 50%. Even less than, let's just say 45%. It's very low. We might be able to like, instead of using 8, because that's the way it breaks down is from 10 to 19. The next one is 30, right? Or is there like an in between of 25? The stop.
Sir, is it
Yes.
okay lang sa kanang isa ra ka side mag setback og 8 and then sa pikas kay kanang gamay lang?
No, like if you're going to have a setback of like 8 or 5, it should be the same on both ends because they're both frontages.
Okay, sir.
Sige. So this is just the tricky part of having a through site. This will make your process more interesting. Let me just double check if it's really called a through site where you have two road right of ways and then a through lot. Yes. So this is what we're designing now. So street at the top and bottom. Typically for we are business division E, I think we only need 5% open space. Uh, at least according to this figure. So let me look at the setbacks. Where are they? I think I passed it. PSO, light and ventilation, residential, and here we have our commercial setbacks. So let's just break it down to like 25 to 29. So what if we have our front meter setback from 5 to 6? Let's see, 5 to 6. Where did everything go? Okay. If I increase this by 2 meters, so 6, let me just double check. Just being a bit more safe here, so that. So how much is this? Let's see, 951,952 divided by 160. 160, this is 46%. The other one is 152,952 divided by 1,760. 54% is very low. And the sides are still, let me see. Sides are still 3 and 3, 2, 2, 5, 2, 2, 5, 3, 3. What should I have on the side? 5. We can actually reduce this. So if this is 3, you can go up to here. Do. So 1064 divided by 1760, 60%. I think that's the best one. So, 1064, 1760. Okay, I think this will be a good midway because we're looking at the existing building going on there. The setback is really almost non-existent. So maybe to make it a little bit more realistic, we can say that the client paid a bit extra because this is really 25. Let's say 28 even. And then according to building code, Philippine building code 25 to 29, we can still afford like 6 meters setback from the fronts and 3 on the side. And based on like my experience of like having at least a large amount or like majority sellable area, a setback of, let me just move that here, 6 for our frontages on Bilaran and Mindanao Avenue would be good. And then for the side, we can have a 3-meter setback, something like that. We can reach a sellable versus non-sellable area ratio of 60%. 60% sellable, and then 40% non-sellable, just given to open space. Because we're trying to get more sustainability, more environmentally friendly building design. So something like this. This will be like a typical, your typical building footprint. Then you can like adjust the footprint to like include your designs like in more interesting facades and like building elevations. Okay, so something like that. So it's being recorded. Yeah, it's recording it here. So, whoa, where's that 3? Whoops. Da-da-da-da-da-do. So at least for our class, we can play around with um, try it out 6-meter setback for the frontages. So that's Bilaran Road and Mindanao Avenue. And then 3-meter setback for your sides. Okay, so something like that. And then everything else we talked about regarding the vehicle entrance. Vehicle entrance should be in Bilaran side because of all the reasons we stated earlier. And then pedestrian entrances on both ends. Okay, next, what other pictures do I have here? You might also consider having like a, whoops, sorry, 12 o'clock. Covering your, what do you call this? Covering your sidewalk with an arcade. Like you can build on top of your sidewalk something like, I need to just draw it. Hang on. You. So much stuff. Okay. So for preliminaries, we'll be expecting floor plans, at least like with walls, columns, and openings like doors. But you don't need to put furniture in it. So we'll need basement, the 2 basement levels, ground floor, second floor, and the typical upper floors. And then some considerations which not a lot of people look into on the schematics is that the possibility of just a sidewalk drop off and not like a whole road going into your site. Where is my pen? Let's see, 300 dpi, that's good. Okay. So let's say is it this right? There we go. So let's say this is your site, and then we have pedestrian entrance over here. I just call it P, and then you have your vehicle entrance over here, V. So why would you want to locate your vehicle entrance here versus here? One reason could be that because there's a park here, an open lot, so that's this park over here. There we go. Wait, it's not loading. Crap, my internet. Google Classroom is going crazy. How is my internet connection, by the way? I think I lost my internet connection. Testing 1 2 3. Am I still online?
Yes, sir, you are, sir.
Okay, thank God. Something is really happening with the internet. Okay, so we have a park here. So this is the park I'm mentioning. It's still there, but it's covered up because of the construction. They're using the park as a temporary like storage area for all their building materials. And then you have the FGU building here. So while you're doing your preliminaries, think about stuff like why is this space here? So for example, this is one option for your vehicle parking. This is Bilaran. I'll just call it Biliran. And this is Mindanao Avenue. So one reason for having your vehicle ramp here is that you take it away from the park, making it safer for pedestrians and like more comfortable as well. So there's no like vehicles moving in and like sort of intersecting with the foot traffic from pedestrians here, like that. So that's one reason to put it here. So I would advise to put it here. But if you think that your vehicle entrance would be better closer to the park, one advantage of that would be is that let me switch colors here. Yeah, vehicle access here. This is your ramp. I guess one advantage would be you have more space over here. So you can have your either bank or retail space with better connections from Mindanao to what they call this Biliran Road. But for me, the vehicle ramp on the other side makes more sense. Mostly because you have your park. There's a park here, and this is just another building over here. So as FGU. Okay, so these are the kinds of things that I want you guys to consider while you're making your what they call this preliminary designs. Another thing, what other thing? Fire exits. So let's say you have your fire exits on both ends. Some of you have it here, like this. So the good thing that why we have a setback of 3 meters, you can exit out of the building from here. But I think much better would be having your fire exits. I'll just change another color over here because we already have the large setback here that's like 6. Large setback here that's 6. So it's easier to get out of your building. Plus, this is your main sort of thoroughfare. So we have a vehicle traffic coming in here. And then you have your pedestrian traffic. I'll just color it green, moving along this side. So this is your pedestrian traffic over there, pedestrian traffic over there. Why I wanted you to include like arrows. So if you put an arrow, you can see exactly where your kanang conflicts are. So over here, if you have your vehicle ramp here, there's a conflict for your pedestrian traffic and your vehicle traffic, meaning there's a vehicle ramp here and then that vehicle ramp will cut through the sidewalk, making it more inconvenient for pedestrians to walk through. And it might seem like a very small like issue for some of you, but this just makes the overall comfort of this area, big picture of this area in Ayala, much more better to walk in, and therefore like will probably attract more customers as well. So these are the kinds of things that we're thinking about. Because like if you go down this road over here, you see the the parking area for the FGU building like cut through the sidewalk, and that just makes it a little bit more annoying to walk through. And then you don't have that problem on the other end because there are no vehicle access, all clean sidewalk. And that's probably why you see more people. There's more foot traffic here, mostly because there are no interruptions. So these small things really affect how people move around, not just your building but your site. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for what they call it, preliminary design. Let me just
Sir,
yes, go ahead.
can I ask about like how to like is it applicable pa ba ang katong setback per floor? Because I checked again in the NBC Ragnalibog code since we're
Yes.
only 6-story building. Yeah, the setback only starts at the 10th story above.
There's actually another part here. There are actually two parts for the building code setbacks, upper floor setbacks. So there's one here. This one, incremental setback per story above the second floor level. So this is section figure 8.2. So if we go back to our Facebook page here, so there are two sections that talk about vertical setbacks. Where is media? This is the other one, figure 8G23. This is the one that starts at 10 floors above, yes?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you really have to go through the whole thing because it's our building code is not very well written. I'm
I
sure
could tell, sir.
if you compare it with Egypt's building code, it's a lot more clear. So we have another one here. There's another figure, figure 8.G.13. This one is using the line of angular plane to establish incremental setbacks, and it starts around floor 10. So that's another diagram we need to consider. Since our building is only 6 floors, the only one that's really relevant for our building design is the earlier one that's starting at the second floor. So let me just go back. So vertical
Um,
setbacks. Yes, go ahead.
just to clarify, so silbi sir, ang section sa building where siya mo hiwi kay maggagamay magpataas?
So yeah, that's a very good question. So the minimum setback here for that's applicable to our building because we stop at this floor. Wait, how do I draw? Can I draw here? Anyway, we just take a screenshot of this. So what you need to do, we stop at the sixth floor. I'll just take that screenshot, save it. Dang it, I already have a screenshot file name. Okay. You can just total or add up that setback to make a straight edge. So download, screenshot, open with. Okay. So this is the side of your property. So setback per story, second floor level. This is not your front setback. So just to be clear, I'll just like highlight that over here. These are rear or side incremental setbacks. So let me draw your building on top of this. There. So this is our lot. It's our lot like that. We have Mindanao here and Bilaran over here. So we have our 3-meter setback here. So 3 meters, and then our 6-meter setback here, 6-meter setback over here. And this is grade below level, sidewalk, rear or side property line, and then will be our length. So this is in our example, this will be the 3-meter setback. And we need incremental of 0.3 per floor. So if you want a straight edge, you'll just need to add up that 0.3. So it will look like, how do I make my brush brighter? Increase opacity. So if you're going to have 0.3 for 3 floors, you'll just need to set back 0.9. So you'll have that straight edge. You don't have to build up all the way unless you want to. Your side elevation will look like this, like that. So this side will be like your setback. So that will be a void now. So it will look like
That's only for the rear and the side, sir.
rear and the side, yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay. But I don't think we have any other setbacks to follow because the front setbacks over here was the one we mentioned earlier na it starts at floor 10 and above. Oh, give me one
Question,
second.
sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Kung in case kung naay overhang ang atong design, would would that complicate that one, sir?
Yes, me and Sershi had like a long discussion on this. I don't think overhangs would be kanang what they call this. For me, I don't think overhangs will be part of it. But if you make it like a space where a lot of people are kind of, if the definition that me and Sershi were struggling with it, what is livable space? Because this setback only applies to livable space. And since a balcony, if it's really being used as a balcony, doesn't have people in it all the time, so it's not a livable space. But if it's like a kanang, what do you call this? By definition, not a lot of people use the balcony, so I don't think it would be included in this scenario. But if it's gonna be like a conference room with a balcony, which is strange because I don't think there's a conference room with a balcony, then you have to like apply the setback. But for our specific case in this specific project, there are no incremental setbacks for the front, both in Mindanao and Bilaran, because it starts at floor 10 and we're only here on floor 6. So I hope that makes it clear because we already have the 6-meter setback anyway, so that's already allowed. So I don't think we need to apply this because
Thank you,
it's
sir.
all right. But if you do want to try, I would like that would be appreciated as well. So that will probably like give you more points if you want to experiment with it, like applying this line of angular plane 65.5 degrees. But even if you apply this, because our road right of way is very large, it may not even hit your building. It may not even hit your 6th floor. So I guess no problems for that. So this will be the building. Let me make this clearer. Right. So I'll just like make this X. Oops. Need white. So this will be like a very simple diagram following the building code in the Philippines. So if this is your site, I'll just draw it in 3D. This is Bilaran, and this is Mindanao. I don't know why I added an extra squiggle there. This is our 6-meter setback, 6-meter setback, 3-meter setback, 3-meter setback. And then we add the incremental setback starting at the, what floor was it? 2nd floor. Incremental setback starting at floor 2, yeah, starting at the 2nd floor. So we have our, we just switch to blue here so it stands out more. So floor 1 and floor 2, you can build all the way up to the setbacks with no problems. So this is your 2nd floor. But when you get to floor 3, you need to apply the 0.09 0.9 setback because of the side and rear regulations in the building code. This one from figure 8.20. So your setback will be like this. Whoops. Then you have another 0.9, another 0.9 setback over here, 0.9. And then you have your other floors here. So that's 1, and that's 3, 4, 5, and 6. So something like that. I'll just make it thicker. So your building will look like this. Like if you're maximizing your building Judd without any other like priorities. So it will look something like that. So in elevation, it looks like a stout building with like some protrusions on the side. So this is, I think, the maximum building bulk or massing we have. Oops, can't draw a straight line today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Oops. So in front elevation, it will look like that. So this is the view from that. And then on the side, oops, the side, it can just be a straight tower, something like that. Because there are no other setbacks we need to like consider. So this is front and rear. Don't know what my tablet. And rear. And this will be our side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Is that clear? Any other questions?
Clear, sir.
Okay. And then some other things. My recommendation for vehicle access would be here. So I'll just put that as V. Mostly because, again, because we have our park here. Not park as in parking, but let's just say open space so nobody gets confused. Or open park. And then we have our pedestrian access, which I will color in, what other color? Let's just say yellow. Or, yeah, yellow. Pedestrian access on both ends. I'll just color that in yellow. And that's pretty much it. Okay, so this is just using the building code. We have like a few more minutes. I really wanted to
I
talk
have a
about
question, sir.
research. Yes, go ahead.
For the fire exits, sir, do we have to extend the stairs until the basement?
No, typically a fire exit, you don't need to put it through the basement because the idea of fire exit, which very good. I'll like draw that now. For example, you have a fire exit here, this side, like that. So the idea of the fire exit is that when you get to the ground floor, you exit out into the street. So how I would draw that, I should look something like this. So you enter the fire exit, you get to the staircase. So you enter that and then you go down here. And then when you get to the ground floor, 1, 2, 3, you go down and you go exit into the street or the open space or your setback. So typically you might have a door here as well. The issue of like why we don't push it all the way down to the basement is that maybe because people are in a panic or they're not oriented, they're in a rush, they might go all the way down to the basement instead. So that just prevents that kind of accident from happening where people are running and then they don't have any access there. So from the basement, they might just use your what do you call this? Your main staircase somewhere in the middle of the building. And then it's very rare for fires to happen in the basement. They usually happen in the upper floors, like in the offices. When I was in Sydney, there was this time where every other month the fire alarm would go off, mainly because someone short circuited their microwave in the upper floors. No, the building wasn't damaged, but the smoke from the short circuited microwave triggered the fire alarm. Anyway, long story short, fire exits don't go all the way down to the basement typically. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Sige. Any other questions? We have like 10 more minutes. Okay, wala na. So we address the fire exit. Let's address the climate. So I think most of you who were not under me, it's not your fault that you weren't under me during planning. But the reason why we use this, let's see, I'll just put north there, solar sun path, is to identify that our site is here, and because variation of the sun path looks like this. This means that both the northern and southern sides get the same amount of sunlight because our site is right there in the middle. Typically, this is the sun path for the Philippines. For European countries, northern countries, the sun path looks like this, where their site is in the center over here, and the variation of the sun path is more southerly, which is why you hear often that the hotter part of the site is the south, but this is only true for northern countries like European countries. In the Philippines, both the north and the south receive the equal amount of sunlight. But typically, because our afternoons are hotter than the morning, the hotter part of our side here in the Philippines would be here in the northwestern side. Because everywhere in the world, sun rises in the east and sets in the west. What would be interesting is like I might do some research on Egypt, like what's going on there, because I'm not familiar. You might be able to enlighten me, Yosa. Anyway, so because it's set up like this, and you want to say you want to make your building cooler, you would want to have eaves on both the northern and southern side, and then even maybe a little bit more on the western side. And this now depends heavily on your building design. So because this building has a setback of about zero point 0.9 meters here, and then also another 3 meters there, so 3.9 total from the western side, I could probably have like 1.2 eaves on this side. And then I'll just continue those eaves for the southern side, which is Bilaran Road, or like south, not really southern. Let me go back to Google Maps here. Google Maps. Okay. Okay. Satellite. So southwestern side. So this would be over here, and then northeastern side over here. So the hottest side in this particular site in the Philippines would be the northwestern side, and fortunately we're being shielded by what they call this FGU building, so that's not such a problem. So shading is not such a big problem. We just need to like apply the typical eaves around the upper floors, and then what we really lack is like what we need to solve in this building is really the ventilation. So let me go over here. So if you guys haven't seen the windrows diagram for Cebu City, it kind of looks like this, meaning most of our wind comes from the northeastern side and the southwestern side. So fortunately, our building is already like oriented like that. Like the main axes are along northeast, and then northeast to southwest already. So the wind would very easily, I'll just represent the wind in green because like I'm already on the green. Typically goes like that, just like easily goes through the building. So this might be one advantage to having a centralized corridor setup, or if you have a main corridor somewhere here in the center, wind would be more easily accessed. The problem here is I put my fire exit right in the middle, so that would be bad for natural ventilation. I might need to move my fire exit or add windows in like as beside or adjacent to the fire exit so that I can have wind pass through my hallways. So that's something you can consider. So typically wind follows the path of least resistance. So if you have your sort of upper floor layout looking like this, I'll just switch to blue. And remember, we need at least like 2 offices per floor because there's like 8 offices required in the design requirements. And each of these offices again will have their like conference room, they'll have their like workspaces here, and then their own like they may have their own private toilets, or you can have a public toilet in the hallway. Anyway, so let's say you have a hallway like this and your fire exit is like somewhere here and somewhere here. So wind can very easily pass through here. So this makes this hallway very comfortable. And then the advantage of that is like if they don't have power or if there's like brownout, they can just open up their windows here. You could make their windows operable, meaning wind can also go through like that. This is northeast, by the way, northeast, southwest. So something like this, a main hallway that's open air and not air conditioned, might be very good for sustainability because you have like natural ventilation going in your building. And because it's oriented northeast, you're catching the major winds from the northeast. So that's how you use your windrows diagram and your like tropical design. Other things, I think that's pretty much it for 1226. So again, basically for your preliminary design, you need to locate your rooms, you need to locate your doors. I'm just drawing it very badly here. And then maybe columnations, some rough columnations, you can have them circle or square, and then you just have your dimensions there. Also label where your Mindanao entrance is and your Bilaran entrance is, or Biliran Road and your Mindanao Avenue. Okay, that's pretty much it. Yeah, this is like the maximum. If you're really gonna put your building to the maximum limits, your building will look like this. It's very boring, so don't copy it. You can play around with your volumes, with your massing, taking into account your sun and wind, and then also like your other technologies, your green infrastructure, your solar panels, your water tanks to create something innovative and